We up the team.
The views expressed in the Up Inside Your podcast are that of its presenters and do not reflect the views of sponsors. However, side effects may include laughter, love, black business promotion, constructive criticism, understanding, laughter, fun, withdrawal symptoms when we go on vacation, laughter, and scintillating conversation.
Yeah.
Every says dog.
Set up your face right. Set up your face right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Boom bang bada bing. Boom bang.
Bada
Bada boom,
boom.
bada bing. Bada boom, bada bing. Bada boom, bada bing. We live. We live. And we
Yeah, we're
on
going on,
stream.
people. I
Good
seeing this stuff
night.
here. You know, when I can
Good
see
night,
me,
good night,
when I can
good
hear
night.
me, let me make sure first. When I can see me, and when I can hear me, let me start there because you know we again a little difficulty because of Google the past couple of weeks, right? So we want to ensure that everybody could hear and everybody could see what is that going on here right now. So if we could just get a little confirmation from the people in the chat that everything's straight, we could get it moving.
One's in the chat. One's in chat for up inside.
One big shot. No, you said insure. I feel like drinking an insure, no, for real. But
All right,
yeah,
good. I got somebody here,
It
so
was your
saying
favorite butter pecan?
chills the
nah.
one. Yeah, everybody doing.
Hi, I'm here. No, y'all
Yeah.
missed
All
me
right.
last week.
All right, people. Pleasant. Good night to you all. I feel like I was just here yesterday. I can't believe that a week passed already, but it's time for Up Inside Your Podcast the versus season. We coming down. We coming down the road. There's we what? There's we seventh episode now. There's we seventh.
Seven?
Yeah,
Listen,
boy.
time
Or
flying.
eight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My word.
Time flying. We will figure that out later, but we still got enough time to figure out where everything gonna be shaping out like for the remainder of the season. But tonight on Up Inside Your Podcast versus we dealing with traditional versus unconventional. Where traditional is customs handed down from previous generations, whereas the unconventional, will carry a connotation of individualism, uncustomary, or idiosyncratic. Yes, I had to bring out the big words tonight. I know what the day telling myself. Yeah, it was these big words here
When
that,
I
that
miss
I
me?
use tonight. Yeah, well, if you want me to repeat it, I can repeat it. Unconventional, the topic for unconventional would carry a connotation of individualism, uncustomary, or idiosyncratic. Yeah? We ain't lack of English in 2020 no more, man. We done
Lack
with
of
that.
always
Yeah,
lack
so.
English.
of English.
No lack of
who,
English in
who,
Always lack
2020.
of
who is
English
lack
in
of English in
Who is lack of
2020?
English
Yeah,
in 2020?
Let me
let me,
ready yet. Let me ready for you.
let me
Somebody
tell
Here,
you.
asked
yeah.
why you
Let me
lost,
tell you.
big man. This buddy
But
Let me
wasn't
tell you
here for
who's
your whole
not.
season.
Let me
Titus
know. Let me
asked you
tell
why you
you.
lost.
yeah, well, he
Yeah,
no come back.
When he
Titus
like
Yeah,
no
move
come
his
back
old
yeah,
man
for
because
sure.
away.
Titus was one of the major people that was inside of this chat here. So when we were doing the first season, why can't understand?
But
Hey
let me tell
man,
you
we
this,
damn me that
bro.
he done missing for a
Before
while.
before you guys go any further, in the event that anybody else needs their lots cut, let me tell you about one of our sponsors. Let me
I
tell you about Trader Cuts Barber Studio, one of our major sponsors. If you need your hair cuts, those are the
I
plug
ain't
for
got my
sure.
undercut down.
Yeah, yeah. Let me also tell you about Trevor and Tony's Tire Shop. Those guys
Ooh,
are amazing. Let me tell you this, Trevor and Tony's. You can't go
saving
wrong there.
lives.
Those guys are amazing.
yeah
Those are
man.
the plugs. Let me tell you
Dropping
about
a
Sibel.
pothole, hit
Let me tell
and
you,
called them.
yeah, for sure. Let me tell you what Sibel and the menstrual cup. So like we live in our life, ladies, in 2020. Yeah, for sure.
Come, link me, ladies.
Who is
Yeah,
lack
for
of cup
sure.
in 2020?
I tell
Wow.
you, no, we are not going into
Well,
2021 without our cups. Come on, ladies,
let me
let's
tell you
go.
about me first. Me first, mobile
You mean that
massage.
that mobile massage therapy business man? Look,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
then big up
I
man, big them up
design
revenue.
one little thing.
Yeah, you can
I
go
want a
and
little
get sent
hookup.
start out. You can go and get sent start out, Janelle, cause you working
Yes.
hard. We done miss you last week, so officially we gotta
I was
say welcome
wondering.
back. We
Yeah.
got
Well,
we gotta tell
Thank
you
you.
welcome back. We gotta tell you
Thank
welcome
yeah,
back
you.
because you
welcome back,
were
you know.
missed. You were missed by
Thank you.
Yeah,
both
Good.
Keita,
I miss
myself,
y'all.
and the crowd.
yeah.
Sweet.
People ask for
I
you.
miss y'all too,
People
though.
asking for you. People was asking for you in the comments for
For
sure.
real? What?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, before we go
That's
further,
good.
big up Ross Media Production. One thing for making this look so good and making this all
Best
happen.
graphics.
Yeah,
Making these eyes come wrong below me. Right, see down there, see down
Yeah.
there below me. See anywhere down
Yeah,
there,
below
so
you.
yeah.
all the odds that's on it there, he making that happen. Man doing a great job.
All that
Big
is
up
so
Barry
look
Sober,
massive, yeah.
big up Barry Sober Entertainment. Barely Sober
Something
Entertainment
coming up.
presents
I hear about saying
December
that
26th.
Christmas.
Something
December
Yeah, I
coming
hear
up.
saying
26th.
about Christmas. Wait, name
Entanglement.
Yes.
again now?
Entanglement.
Entanglements?
Yeah,
Entanglement?
Entanglements.
yeah,
Woo.
entanglement.
I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
Yeah.
saying that you got me itching
Welcome.
my head because that like it gonna be a lot of foolishness, a lot of
Yeah,
entangling and entanglement on
yeah.
that
Something,
shit, man.
something like that. Stay tuned, though. Stay tuned, stay
Mm,
tuned. But back
mm.
to you,
Hmm.
Chad. Back to you. Let me get this show on the road.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Traditional versus unconventional.
Yes.
So I know some people probably would have been like, okay, traditionally, what is that we gonna talk about? And let me tell you something, there's so many things that we could talk about within
Look,
the
I got
traditional
about 10
scene
things here,
that
boy.
all of us were privy to. Well, I'm glad that you said so because I didn't know coming to you, yeah, like you gonna come back here so not work. You can hear the word. So I
You
want to know
better give me a
exactly
break,
for
man.
you as a
Have my
woman,
brain fried.
as a
Yes.
lady,
Mm-hmm.
what does traditional, when you think of the word traditional or unconventional, you can start with whichever you feel free
I would start with
to
traditional
feel fit to start.
because
Tell me what does it feel like
I'm
to
one of
you,
those
man.
people who I used to follow tradition really hard. Things that are long established because you're saying that whatever is in place usually is the thing to do. So those norms that are have been established. So like Christmas Day, going church on Christmas morning and stuff like that. And you
Mhm.
can't go sleep without cleaning the windows, and you cannot get up and go down to church. Those
Mhm.
things stood true to me. But then as I got older and I was making decisions for myself, then I was realizing, wait, no, but that traditional thing ain't really all that it cracked up to be. And that's when I started to
Mhm.
realize that I don't need to conform. And that's the whole thing. What the whole unconventional thing is not
Mhm.
conforming to what tradition says, not conforming to what everybody believes or think things should be done or the way things should be done. So I was ready. I missed a week, so I tell myself, prepare for tonight, cause yeah, use my peoples was my people, so I ready.
But I can
Yeah.
even go a step further. I can even go a
Uh-huh.
step further as it pertains to unconventional or even
Hmm.
most people say non-traditional. Fun fact, before I even go further, like this week, right? I was thinking of the topic, and it was writing no points, and I keep writing no non-conventional because I was thinking on traditional non-conventional. I was just messing up the words the whole week, right? So I didn't.
Mhm.
I research. I do a little research, and thinking about what I can say this week and what's not. And I told myself,
Hmm.
well. these two words don't make sense on their own. Like in order for something to be traditional and non-traditional, it's people that think outside the box is what make things happen for non-traditional. Everybody can't do the same thing. It ain't gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody ain't built the same. Everybody ain't got the same mentality. So there's a reason why these things are the way they are, and I think that we can uncover the non-conventional ways and the pluses and I guess also the negatives, for balance to show you like how people think outside the box and why in some situations being traditional or being non-conventional, it goes a long way. So everybody got the,
All
I
right.
guess, strong points, and everybody got the
Empress.
weaknesses.
Empress was here saying that in Jamaican households, soup is a Saturday thing and rice and peas is a Sunday thing. But let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
something, as a man that comes from and we talked about that last week,
Yeah.
Keita, where we was talking about, having the thing of a tradition when it comes to cooking every day as opposed to eating out on a
Yeah.
consistent basis, which is the way that society has gone today. I
Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
actually I really miss eating cocoa on the salads because my grandmother is no longer alive, rest in peace to her. And it's
That's
like
that's
that's
traditional
something that's
bonded
missing
people.
from my that's something that's missing from my life because of
Yes.
the passing of somebody that's there. So they got
Mm-hmm.
some traditions that certainly would rub people the wrong way, and then they got some traditions that would be, or don't let me lose that, because as far as I'm
Mm-hmm.
concerned, something that recently came back to us because of the way the world is going is like growing food. Growing food
Growing
was
our
something
own
that
food. Yeah, I
everybody used to
actually have
do.
that down. Mm-hmm.
That
That
was a
used to be
tradition.
traditional.
That was a
Yeah, for sure.
tradition that people naturally came up with. Every part of the island, from the country to the middle to the town, everybody used to have their own little garden. Everybody used to keep a certain amount of sheep or cows or chickens or whatever. But over time, we moved away from that, and now we had to come back to it. I see where tech here so saying majority or should it gone from my screen now rather than seeing
Yeah.
it for what it. Well, I
Yeah,
guess
before you read his thing, cause
I
his
just
was
want to
loaded.
say the
His
same
was
thing.
loaded, but I did put on that whole thing about the
Yeah.
traditions of eating a particular way, and I find that since we broke away from tradition in how we ate, we
Mm,
had a lot more issues with non-communicable diseases, obesity,
mm,
diabetes, hypertension, stuff like that. I mean, old people have those
uh,
issues as well, but certainly not in the gravity and then the age of how people are. The fact that we move so far away from the traditional sense. But Tat
uh,
thing was really loaded. He actually said that the majority of our traditions are dipped in stupidity, and their only
mm-hmm.
value is what we've placed on them due to the hereditary passage, rather than seeing them for what they really are.
Oh,
So yeah, somebody
okay.
was like, "Big man, you're rough, though."
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
I
kind of rough
understand
his
where
comment.
tech coming from. Maybe in
Hmm.
his mind, he has maybe two or three particular traditions that
Yeah, speak
he's
on it.
thinking of
Well,
primarily that
Hmm.
get
makes him feel
examples.
that way.
Get
Because
examples.
Hmm.
like I just said, yeah, he will
Give
go give you some
examples
examples because like I
for sure.
said before, me missing cocoa on a Saturdays don't mean that every single Saturday I don't want to eat it, or every single Saturday
Hmm.
no I want to continue to eat it. It's certain things that you could choose on. But I would assume that he's speaking about certain things primarily that he feels are traditions that are stupid. Like for example, he might say that let me talk about religion. There's a way where we all grew up in the church, and I remember growing up because as I told you guys before, my granddaddy was a pastor, so it was only natural that he was going to church on Sundays and that sort of thing. But at the end of it, all my grandfather was a very open and honest man. Like he was something that I wasn't expecting because of his age. You gotta remember when people come from a different timeline or a different era, you would assume that they would have closed off mentalities after a certain age. But my grandfather was real open. So he told me that it is okay to question things. Do not let nobody tell you this is the it and end all and you just run with that. You're supposed to question things. So he never used to get vexed with me questioning why we supposed to do this and why we supposed to do that and all kind of thing. He basically laid the foundation for me to be uh, an objective individual. because I have people within my district that grew up, like for example, Seventh Day Adventist. There was a youngster down here that he was real good at cricket. This boy was at St. Michael's School, doing well in school, and he Jeff Brooms got wind of him. And you know, when Jeff Brooms get wind of somebody that got the potential to do something in cricket, he can push them. But he was introducing the young man to people, and he had to come out on Saturdays to make the introductions and to do the cricket and so on. But because his mother was so adamant that Sanders is this and you aren't going nowhere to do this, you know that this young man now is a big black man, and he has gone the complete left to what he could have
From what
possibly
she
become.
was, yeah.
So I question myself. I just wonder, like, I wonder if she does look back on her decision in that time and blame herself for the trajectory that her son is on. Now that's something that
Not
I
deep though.
stand against in terms of tradition. Because
That's
we
pretty
gotta
deep.
understand that when we
Yes.
put in traditions on people, especially our
Yes.
children, we gotta understand that them is come with consequences. And if you want jerk tradition down people throw up without allowing them to grow or the space to grow, you basically telling them is either take this or leave it. And if
Or
they
leave
take
it.
it, they take it. And if they leave it, then you responsible for this person reacting adversely to what you to teach them. So I just wonder if people think like that,
Yeah, I see people
But
in chat.
yes,
They're talking about. I see people in chat. They're talking about even like traditions like the playing match it in on the baby.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
actually believe that is actually like one of the truest things I've actually seen work. I think still to this day, I don't know the science behind it, but I
it's the
just
sulfur, that's what I was saying.
yeah.
But it
Titus
is
tell you, Titus tell you,
but the
Titus tell
sulfur
you
and
that
it
the
matched
suffer.
it.
Is it so? No, see, I don't know if y'all seeing this too in the stream, but I can only see one come at a time. Like on any game in the full
Oh, I
chat
can see
log,
stuff.
Oh, I can see
one come
majority
out.
of the things.
Yeah,
Funny
but
enough, I can
yeah,
I can see
see the
majority.
comments, but we frozen on my phone, so I guess.
yeah, fair
Oh,
enough. Fair. I might have movement,
yeah.
so I plug it.
Mm.
But yeah,
But yeah,
but
continue there, my brother.
traditional versus on conventional, right? Like this is a very deep topic because it could go a long way.
Yeah.
I even think about it like as in even we go back to school and the traditional way that that a student would learn as opposed to unconventional methods. So like I always look at it in a way like full time students and part time students learn the same information, but obviously part-time people got a lot more on their plate because they got work and what's not outside the school, and their learning methods might not be the same as a person whose main focus is school. So, for instance, now a full-time student now got to worry about schoolwork, what they got to eat, whatever. But the person that's part-time now, which is, I guess, to me, that's what I deem unconventional, is is a person now that's worrying about, all right, I got to work, I got kids to feed, I got a wife, I got this, I got bills, that's everything. I'm still gonna
Lot
have
of
to
things
work.
struggling.
That's the struggle. And that's not how you're or how we were brought up to understand what learning is supposed to be like. Because we grew up into school and we learn it every day. You go in school, that's the traditional way of being taught something or learning something. You go in school every day and learn it. But not that you go in work, then you gotta stop and do this, then you gotta do this, and then you gotta get to school by a certain time, or even with the online classes, which is a really unconventional for most people. Because I know that within myself that online classes gonna be for me will be real tough.
It would have been
Because
hard. It tough. It is. It is. And that's not because that's not a lot of us cannot learn that way. It's difficult for a lot of us, right? I do echo you with that because when I think about the whole thing with school and traditional versus conventional, first thing I think about is the use of technology with the online instruction, and then also the issues with dress and accepting that society is changing when it comes to hair and stuff like that, the rules.
yeah,
But when it comes to online instruction, like my older daughter, um, she struggles because she's one who like to be in the class and she could focus, she can write her notes or whatever, and then same thing. But online,
Mhm.
like I be in here in class and then one child come and then the next one and so many things going on, or it's just hard to concentrate because you're not being really engaged. It's so difficult. So there are sometimes things that are unconventional might not be working to the best for everybody.
for
But
everybody. But
then,
depending on like,
mhm,
for these students, learning program, like they learn a path, like how they learn as a student. Because I guess obviously not every student is the same, and people learn differently. Like for somebody that like no limited interaction or don't really talk to anybody in class or that sort of thing, this might be the
Mhm.
perfect thing for them. But they could just listen to what teacher's saying, when teacher got to talk to other students, you can mute them or whatever you focus. But for somebody you know that is a student that will learn but easily distracted, you got all these other students that you got see the fits and that sort of thing, and you know how children you get or how students can get at these particular ages. I'm talking
mhm,
about people
mhm.
within secondary school or primary school. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then I also wanted to touch on the whole thing with the traditional versus the unconventional. In that traditional, we have a lot of rules, right? That is sometimes I go shake my head because then I supposed to enforce them, but they don't be making any sense. Like the children with the hair and stuff like that. I understand you don't want anything that's distracting or anything. I hands down I agree with that. But if a child has been growing, a boy has been growing his hair from 2, 3, 4 years old, the parent has made that decision, and they come into these schools in secondary school, and you say, but you have to wear this particular, you gotta wear it and cover it this way or whatever. I guess the issue comes when he wants to see them having the long hair, not locks, and then say, oh, well, if he's come to school, he hair plait up, well, I could start plaiting my hair too. I can see where the issue may come. My thing now is sometimes we get too about the rules and stuff like that, and I know one of them the parents would say uniforming and let you learn or not learn. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that we need to start really shifting away from so much conformity based on tradition, and seeing that, hey, with all the changes in society, there are certain things that we can accept. Because yes, I know it's unconventional for boys to have their hair grown, but does that make it wrong?
But
Mm.
you see, the issue, the one of the major reasons why people would always have beefs with tradition is because there is sometimes, or I would say most of the time, absolutely no room for change or for editing. I think that is the number one problem because we know that change is inevitable. We know change is something that's forever constant. So the fact of the matter is that the rules that applied in 1960 should not be applied in 2020. So my thing is that with you, Janelle, you're stating that you don't feel 100% comfortable with the tasks that are placed upon you to restrict children because you yourself would have gone through a certain era of school days, and you would have noticed certain things, you would have felt certain things, you would have experienced certain things, and you should not have to continually perpetuate the same rules that held you down to a newer generation. So I think the reason why traditions are becoming the enemy is because there's no room for them to be edited. And if you edit
Mm-hmm.
them, all of a sudden, oh, you want to take up the roots of this, and if you take up that, then the tradition no more is saying else.
Mm.
That is something that
When
is a problem with tradition,
yes.
right?
So
So I hear so looking at tradition learns very little room for interpretation and imagination. Everything is mapped out charted with little well, basically Nick saying the same thing that I just said. I never see that until just now. The socks thing is sad because she talking about the when girls used to wear socks a certain way and that sort of thing.
yeah.
No, just like what you said, I agree. I agree with the fact that if a youngster from his own home came with hair, cornrows or whatever, and that's how the parents saw fit to send the child to school, and that the child come and I come school and they had a low haircut, and then all of a sudden, so he could plait here, well, he want plait mine too
I want
is
planning
a
too.
different story. Or if a
Yeah.
young girl coming to school with her hair a certain way and is not distracting and is neat and that sort of thing,
Yes.
let the young girl keep
Leave
her thing. Like,
them.
well,
Leave her.
what we always have to recognize is that there's always gonna be a tug of war with people the who were the carriers of the of the information versus who are now the bringers of the information. So there gonna always be that push and pull between people controlling the narrative versus those who want to change the narrative. So there gonna always be that beef because archaic behaviors and mannerisms and ideas is what really keep people down, you know. You gotta learn to flush out the old and bring in new enterprising people that could think and be malleable, and you know that's just where it's come down to, man. We
Yeah, but
traditions are not the
at the
enemy. I
same
just
time,
feel people
at
are.
the same time, it's a changing world we're living in, and you know, even in the, I guess, in the high end or the classy institutions that people got, the banks and the or the offices or what's not, your hairstyle is more acceptable for even for males with longer hair is more acceptable, you know, in these days, even if your hair flat, once it's in a new style or what's not. So
Yeah.
you basically, so what's the message or the rationale, no, to tell a child that they can't grow their hair or you know, at that stage? Because we're changing, I guess, in the adult world, but we ain't changing in the child world or the
You
baby
know.
world.
Mhm.
You know, so
And
it's
then the
like
children are seeing that and feeling it. We hear all this double standards and these mixed views and
there
whatever.
are a
And
lot of double
it,
standards
yeah,
because
too many double standards.
we
And then
sending a
it just what
and you
you
sending a
said,
real
like,
foolish message. It's a real foolish message that we sending. Is like it's not okay to do it till you get to this age. So when you get to this age, you could do it. So what you can do at this age because we didn't want you to do it at this age. What you didn't want you to do it is what is it like portraying an image that is wrong? Like you know, people who got
yeah,
here
but you
off.
can't tell me exactly why. My thing as you say, like some person in the chat was saying, if it is neat, if your children are keeping themselves well groomed and neat and tidy and stuff like that, then it's not a distraction. And then you go by case basis. That's another thing too. You need to still be flexible with things because like there are girls. They'll say no weave, and then be no weave. Oh, she going weave. You gotta check out not weave braids. Let me go with braids, but not the weave, right? No, but then I have a situation where there's a child whose grandmother had passed away, just after that another relative had passed, and her hair started to drop out, and the way it looked, it was in that self it was hard for her and the family. And then they had got honey braids, and then there was a year head who was saying about she got honey braids or whatever, but they didn't even look and say, hey, with this particular case, well, we should allow it because they were neat and tidy. It wasn't as though there were anything outlandish. She had in a blue hair and or nothing. And them see things that you just going and from the pen and say, well, you can't come to school with these things. But we be like so hard and fast to these traditional things, and we're not taking in the fact that society is changing so much, and there are things
Yeah.
like same way we are affected by things, children are affected by things too, and the same way we have our beliefs, children have beliefs as well. So that's where then you need to be more flexible when it comes to these things. I think I sometimes real sick of society
Yeah,
though. I think,
All
I
right.
used to be society too, and even but I didn't want to go on this forever. But even like some of the subjects that we teach at school, the traditional subjects that we continuously go over and over with these children, that may not necessarily be what they are, what they want in the real world.
mm-hmm,
Um, Instead of teaching them, like I guess, unconventional subjects, things that can actually impact them, like teaching them about taxes or teaching them about, you know, certain things in life that can actually impact them as soon as they come out of school. From the secondary school, primary school level, not primary school, but mainly the secondary school level is where I already know. Because
Well, sorry, Kido, go ahead. Sorry.
I find that we teach a lot of the traditional courses, which is all about fine, you know. I mean, even though the coursework don't really change, you know, it could be a little, it could get modernized a little bit because I find that the same things that I did doing in school, you know, there might be a newer or easier way to do it, or and we still going through the old ways, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they got some subjects that I just think that would be unconventional, but
yeah, but it's suited
best
for
to
them
talk
though.
about.
I can say something here, right? I reading some of the things in the chat. We talking about schools and society, and Lanika said, "Was it our tradition, or was it what was told to be our tradition? Some of its intent is typical docile activity, and that's very true. Because when you think about tradition on a whole, you got rationalize tradition with something that pre-existed us.
Right.
Now, Barbados is supposed to be 50 some odd years independent. However, our laws, the ways that we carry out school, the ways that we drive on the road, basically everything that is the basic foundation of our society is not indigenous to Barbados. It is a part of
Correct.
a colonial structure. So the
Correct.
fact of the matter is that what is tradition then? Because if we don't know it, yet again, it always comes back down to the roots of slavery. Where exactly does tradition begin and brainwashing end? That's where it can come down to, because a lot of the things that we practice, believe, and carry out are not traditionally ours. So, we could really look at a lot of these things, and I want to transition to something now to take the topic off of the school system because we will be here forever with that one. Let
True.
me talk about let me talk about marriage and sexuality. I feel
You
like
know, he always
a
about these
traditional,
relationship things, you know.
but they gotta come
Sometimes
in. They gotta come in.
Yeah.
Somehow they gotta fit
I
in here
didn't have it
I,
because
I
here.
know. I know
because
I
it's
this is
knew
coming.
my
you were gonna
view.
I
raise
know
it.
it's
This is
coming.
my
No,
view.
I know it's
This,
coming.
this
I know
is
it's
this is
You
my
coming.
view
know.
here, right? This is my view here.
But I made sure I
I
had no
got
some I made sure I
You
had
had
no
it
some
something to
stories.
prepare?
Yeah.
Chad, the floor is yours, man.
Yours, Sean.
man. Listen, all right. Well, listen to this here. In my opinion, I was thinking about it like all through this week and everything. I was thinking about the marriage and sexuality and all these things, and it's clear to me that in poor or developing countries, traditional things like marriage can work because, to be frank, is mainly about survival. Life, life in a developed country. Janelle could be her own individual. She will find like businesses to tailor to her lifestyle as a single parent, or somebody who has, or I working on my career, I trying to do this, I trying to do that, and the entire developed country has things in place for Janelle to excel without a man needed. And the same thing could be said for a man without a woman, because in a in a in a developed sorry in a underdeveloped country or a developing country, there are many obstacles that we face as individuals that we cannot deal with alone. And things changing now, like from the regular type of marriage, I got a lot of unconventional type marriage structures. Like you
Yeah.
remember, once upon a time, the term common law was not in existence.
Also
There
true.
was not common law nothing, no common law spouse,
Yeah.
no common law.
Yeah.
Then another one that come up was open relationships. You know,
There was the ones that end up in
having
entanglements.
Well, you see, the thing is,
Oh, 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 oh.
the word open is give the connotation or the belief structure that this is more than one person being with more than one person. It's not necessarily that.
Ah,
But this is
interesting.
why you can say this. Let me finish this off quickly.
Oh, go ahead.
If you look at the issues that plague marriages, like once upon a time, marriages used to last because for whatever reasons, we grandparents did together for 50 plus years and that sort of thing, right? The fact of the matter is everything is changing. Information is readily available. We got access to things that we never had access to. So Janelle could figure out if she husband got another family in Croatia for all we know. You understand? These things were things that were not privy. We were not privy to this information. Our
Yeah.
women were not privy to this information before. So they used to just go along with what was a traditional role within a household as a female. But my thing is, right, is that you and a person getting married, what's the story behind marriage? When you and somebody come together and want to love one another, when it's getting married. Then when they're supposed to live in a house together, when they're supposed to get children together, when they're supposed to build a life together. What if, right? Janelle and I got married, but Janelle is a neat freak. And I somebody that I like clutter. I a man that I like to work with tools, so I want my own garage full of bare things. And Janelle's going inside of my garage all the time and try to fix things. And then when I'm looking for this specific screwdriver, my screwdriver missing, and I vex, and we argue and
Like
problems. If no, right?
fight things
That
all over
I
the
could
place.
if no, you see, there's what trying to tell you. There's a difference between traditional and conventional. What if no, Janelle and I got married because we love one another, but we understood living together will not work. It will not put it will not it will leave strain on our relationship, which makes us resent each other. What if Janelle is social and is a one-on-one sort of man? What about these things? Because the traditional sense states that from the time I marry somebody, I'm supposed to put them in the house, I'm supposed to be living with them, I'm supposed to do it because that's traditional. But what if not what I want to do? I want to do that.
I ain't like
I
that tradition. I ain't
I
like that
know you understand. I know
unconventional way
that
of
you
doing
understand.
things,
But
though.
you
I
see
ain't like
now,
that
well, all right, talk,
unconventional way.
talk,
Yeah,
talk.
but
You better get you act together, all
Let me drink little water.
right? But I mean, I see where
but
you're going,
it,
whatever.
but
I see that we need to be more flexible with these things because, as we first said, where is it that the tradition begins and what we were trained to do
accept.
based on Western society? Yeah, where does that begin? Because a lot of the practices that we had, if I was born in Saudi Arabia, I will be okay with taking my place because that's what I learn or what I know or whatever. I am born here. I have more flexibility, but society they still want me to conform to everything, including that when you get married, that you're supposed to live with that person and endure all of the tools all over the place or whatever.
Yeah,
I
call it
I would
tools.
prefer to try
Call
to
it tools. Yeah, call it tools. Yeah, yeah.
yes, but I see what Chad is saying is that we should be able to still be okay with who we are and how we want to be. This is something I had written down about living a particular lifestyle. We should be
But
okay with
question,
these things and
I,
not feel as though we're being judged and like, oh, but you can't do that and no.
but do you find that the people in these non-traditional relationships are happier than the people in traditional relationships? That's what you
That
want.
way, see that is because like all right, Gibbsy they talk about the polyamorous catties, right?
Yeah, I
So
saw, I
if
saw.
that is what you are comfortable with or whatever, and you are able to express yourself in that way, in that form, and you certainly don't let people rent in space in your head, then yes, they're definitely going to be happy than people who want to be polyamorous or people who want to at least have open relationships. Even if it's just having a one person in the relationship, but are stifled because their grandmother would never go for it or they just work in a particular environment where people just know your business and will be like, oh, she doing this and she got another man living in she house and yeah, and so then they will more likely be definitely unhappy.
Yeah,
But
but
I
they
think
got
of things.
lost structures. They got lost structures as it pertains to unconventional relationships, whether it be a man and a woman, two men, two women, and a child. You know, like they got a lot of different scenarios. I'm like, oh. I always tell myself, and I ain't gonna know that whole line, you know what I mean? But I just try and see if the unconventional, relationship and the marriage and what's not, as opposed to a normal or what we deem as normal, a man, a woman, and children living all in one home, who's happier at any day because most most of the life we live, we were programmed to think, like you said, if you were in Saudi Arabia, you would be programmed to, accept X, Y, Z. But if you live here, we came up in church and all these different factors where, you court a girl, you marry she, blah, 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 you start a family and go from there. No, I don't know what, because I honestly can't see it from one conventional aspect. I can only see it from the normal and conventional aspect. So
Mm.
I just want to know what even the people in the force in the chat think of the actual interaction, or how these people are as happy as, a person in a conventional relationship.
But the whole in the chat, most persons are saying like Alison Paulo Wakenholt, she's saying every choice has a limitation. And then you work with the choices that you make and you also work with the limitations of which you present themselves. So and most persons are saying like obviously it goes based by person and their experiences, etc. Working on compromising or whatever. So then there's no, you can't just say, are these people happier or not? Because some of them, it may be perceived to be happier because they're getting to live a particular way that
Yeah.
is unconventional, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy with whatever it is. So it's a really shift. I remember one of the discussions we had about, like how we think. Which one was it? About adapting how we think to things or how we think about certain things and working to suit whatever situation we have been placed in or we place ourselves in. Make a decision, you stick with that decision, you work with that decision. To me, it's not be so always black and white, but at least you know that it is not clear cut in any relationship that you are presented with.
Yeah, right here. So saying the man talking about these things, but so let me talk about another traditional thing within marriage where that men are the ones that are supposed to propose. If we got any modern women in the building that would like to speak out about how they would love to propose to the man that they love, or do they expect men to still continue to get down on one knee with the whole shebang? What about you, Janelle? You're a modern woman. You can propose to a man or what?
No, I'm not proposing to anyone. Okay.
So that mean then that you can't boast modern then? You can't boast modern
Big
if
man,
you
what do
still
you
in
mean?
that old time
Wait,
mindset.
because I would have proposed to the
You
man,
can't boast
that
that?
doesn't mean I'm not saying that I
Fire for
won't
that.
pursue him. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like
Fire for
come and
that.
talk about that. But wait. And
Fire
look,
for
I can
that.
tell you this here, right? When I know I'm ready, all right. But it's ready for the next person to know that they're ready too. And if them ain't ready and they ask, I propose and they tell me that them ain't ready or whatever, I will fight that will break my heart in like 20 pieces. Or if they say, okay, got no
Oh.
problem. Oh yeah, no
So you
problem.
see, you
So we
hear
will get
Keita?
married and then
You hear
5 years
Keita?
in a row you realize that they been both hit and say, nah boy,
You hear
when you ready?
Keita? You see that everything that I just said, this come back full circle in different subjects. You see, you remember when they tell you that women want to be modern but don't want to take the L's that men have been dealing with for all of these years that
Tad,
we are growing up. Because it is okay for a woman to sit down on her perch and a man to go out on a limb to ask that question
I
and be
wait,
declined. But
hold on.
women
But
don't want
listen,
to get the
but,
heartbreak.
but
But
if
men
I have
supposed to
been
be
sitting
normalized
here
to get the
Allison said,
heartbreak.
nah,
Okay,
you're wrong, big man. Look,
okay,
sitting Allison say that she's not gonna
okay.
propose. But she can go after she man, big man. I will pursue you. I will go after you. It's just I was
So why
just
you
saying I will
can't
stop at
propose to
the
me? Why you
why?
can't propose to a man?
Why?
Oh, why?
I'm not
Oh,
saying that we
okay,
finna live.
okay.
What
Well,
is that
if you
we
could
finna
be,
live? If it is
yes.
that we have you don't know that I want you and this is the life that we want. Why is that I gotta be the boy to say that we
All right,
you
all
ain't
right,
gonna go
Nick.
for the knee and you telling you to
I
go for the knee.
see,
It's just that I
I
ain't
see,
posting
I see, I see Nick here saying I still believe gender roles is a thing to an extent. And Nick, I agree with you. I, as a man, prefer to propose. Let me take a leap of faith. Let me step up. All good, all well and good. But you know what it is? I am just asking the modern women a question. If it is that we are supposed to be abandoning the roles of tradition and gender, where does it state that the women only coming out with W's? Where are the L's? Where are they? That's what I'm asking. Everybody going quiet now?
I have nothing more to say to you. I already tell you I'm proposing. I can pursue you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's
I
I
will
ask a
feel
question
also
and I get
like
an
I will
answer.
feel
I about
I
I
5 years
will
get
from
an
now I
feel
might
answers.
change my mind. It
I
may be different. I might
I
find that
I got
one person
Let
that
Keita talk.
yeah.
Let Keita talk, man. Let
I
I
Keita
just
talk.
had
no
You
I
say what
was
you
just
say.
guessing I just saying that I guess that I'm not the modern mind either because I will feel weird or want to propose to me. I would be
Uh,
real. I would be real. I don't know what I would do though. Like I would probably go panic because like I that's thing I did not expect, and I will feel bad though that I get
you will
beat to
feel
it. You know what
bad?
I mean?
that the woman
You will
Yeah,
feel
proposed.
bad, Keita?
yeah, I will
You
feel
see,
bad.
that's another thing that's normalized within male society, you know. Because
Because
think about it this way: we is natural givers. Like we will go we way and we will go and find a gift for a woman and we will give she a thing. Let me say a girl come to you with a gift. No, oh yeah, Keith, I was just thinking about you and I know you don't want this PS5. I take you be like,
yeah,
shit, I don't know what to think. I don't know how to act. Where you trying to feel like I had the money to buy this? It's like it's
I ain't
so
telling so. I
much
checking out
things
PS5.
wrapped around this
I checking out
traditional
PS5.
thing that I telling what people ain't ready to deal with. A lot of people has come with this conversation, but yeah, I ready about changing the tradition. But dog, this thing is engulfed in we DNA, oh man. This thing written in we
I
DNA, dog.
started that love. So child, you want me to propose to you?
Listen, if I am proposed to, I can back my eyelashes and I am going to be cute and I am going to say
And
yes.
there you go. You see,
Yes.
now you just carried down a whole gender role there now because now you have impersonated the female in
Wait,
accepting
so you
that
can't back my
proposal
eyelashes? So I
You
can't
can't
and
be
back my
cute.
putting it all
You
eyelashes?
cute
can't be cute,
and all
child.
that
I can't be
She
cute.
ain't what you degree. She ain't what you
big man,
degree. She
Well,
ain't what you
well.
degree.
You're vexed
big
with the
man.
modern, I can tell. Whoa,
You
whoa,
see what Alice
whoa.
said? If the man ain't proposed, he doesn't want to marry you.
Wait, what's
Wow.
this all going on here?
Enough going on in the chat. What is that, Kita?
Yeah.
I can't. I can only
I
see
ain't
one
see.
come at him. So I don't know what happened, but I can only see one come at him. So I didn't reach out to him.
The mother woman still wants to have that romantic gesture and to feel special. You want me to tell you in these comments though? You like you're like
Yeah,
you know
tell me
what? Let me
again.
change the subject because you ain't got burned, man. Nah, no,
Burn?
no, no,
Ain't nothing to
nah,
do with burns, man. You know what it got to
ain't a,
do with? It got to deal with actually asking the hard questions that people don't want to talk about. That's what it all about. That's the only way we go forward. If it is that we were supposed to stay stagnant, nobody won't be asking questions. Nobody won't be pushing the status quo. Nobody won't be daring to go over nobody else doing good. That's what it is. I need to be out here so asking these questions because when it is that people are going in front politicians and asking a puppy shit, I gonna ask and listen, what is that you doing for poor people? What you here so looking at the table and dropping anything or anything? I can be asking what
Well,
to do. I can answer
well,
questions that are gonna go down
yeah, yeah.
uncomfortable. I know I
Go
can be out
ahead,
of a
here's
job.
funny politics thing. Yeah, look,
I
I
can be
want to
out
talk
of a
about
job.
things before we shut off tonight. I want to talk about the politics thing. I don't want to talk about living a particular lifestyle. The lifestyle thing would have come out from we were just discussing, but since it bring on the politics, right? So yeah, I live in St. George now. If anybody who ain't know what's going on in St. George now, if we got a whole big election, I swear that this is actual like Barbados elections happening because the stops there, like unlimited stops being pulled for in the campaigning. And I must say, that's very traditional and how we campaign and stuff like that. What's happening with the ruling party? So they had a big meeting down by the Glebe. They set up about 20 big things or whatever. Very traditional. 3 days later, another meeting again. I thought it was another party that was doing it. So here's the same one. And in my mind, I'm like, why is it that we think that this is the way to get to me? I
Yes,
let me say,
horrible.
George, I don't have time to go to the meetings or nothing, though. But look what you're really doing for the people in St. George North. There are different types of people who live here. You got the middle class, the upper class, and definitely we'll have the working class. You meetings and things ain't doing nothing for me right now. Let me know what is you really doing for the people. And I think that we need to move away from the traditional ways of doing things in politics and get, you know, I ain't liking it. It needs to be more unconventional. However you want to do, like they could set up kitchens or whatever for the people who live in the area that's be sleeping on the street. A lot of different little things, but I ain't seeing that happening. I see you trying to tell me that this body and batting and thing. I don't like it. I'm tired of it actually.
that's interesting, but what you would consider non-conventional or unconventional, sorry, for campaigning or politically in aspirations like getting out in the community. Because that's for me, that's what I consider traditional politics or what traditional politicians do. Go and speak to people and you know offer them a a dream, tell them a dream about what they have in store for the community,
I
whether
think that they
whether it may be true or not true. They're selling all these or what they consider corned beef and biscuit politics to give people things, and
that's my
that
problem.
I think that's what's being considered traditional. No, but that's the norm. But what is the conventional way
Way
of
more
doing things?
service oriented campaigning. I find that it is very party centered how they're approaching it or whatever, and they're not getting really into the heart of the community and stuff like that. Really get into what is it that St. George North. Well, I can use my right now. What really is it that that is needed for the majority, the community centers that actually functioning because they ain't got none of that about here that functioning in my mind. Some person complain about Newbury that they have built some center that's not even being used. So then let's get then to what really is going on in community. Your them meetings, you don't need the meetings right now. You don't need the whole. Even if you want to do the door to door, it's ready to get the pulse of the community, and we
But
have
you said
moved
we
away
don't.
from
But
that.
you said we don't
You
do
know
it.
what? I got the solution for that, you
This
know. I
COVID
got a
But
solution. I got the
social
solution for
distancing.
everything to do with politics. If it is that politicians looking for a way to make things right, this is I mean just hear me out. I know that I is always got a little far fetched in my thoughts, but just hear me out. How about doing what the fuck when I said when I'm gonna do? Anyhow, let me move on to mental illness. Traditionally, we as a black nation or people to say, oh man, when it comes to mental illness, he can get over it. There's Max Sport, but he needs some milk. You know what? That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
things. He needs some
Yeah.
milk. The unconventional way of dealing with mental illness is what we got big up. Telling people to find or create support systems, reminding them that asking for help isn't a weakness, and finding ways to seek help. You understand? That's how I feel when it comes to mental illness. We got to change that tradition now of thinking about mental illness as something that, we don't really need to invest the time, the money, the mental strain, the stress into this. We got to really and truly understand that there got a lot of people out here so that suffering,
Struggling, man.
going through things, a lot of mental shit that when they cannot deal with it, we know what is come next. That's when violence is get hype. That's when suicide rates is go up. That's when um, people are gonna be doing whatever they got doing in terms of crime to get or make money for themselves and their families. These are the things that I believe need to be focused on when it comes to this mental illness. Because you see, for every single topic over season one through season two, no, mental illness is something that has repeat itself, repeat itself, repeat itself. Because the term stress is something that is universal. Is something cascade over every single topic you could possibly imagine. It's just something that needs to be addressed. So a woman to feel is one of the things that needs to be done when it comes to the traditional viewing of mental illness versus what unconventionally needs to be dealt with.
I could say as it pertains to the awareness, because all right,
Mm,
we offer a mental awareness day or maybe a mental awareness week, but I don't think it is enough. A lot of people still not aware of the different conditions or different symptoms of being mentally, let's say unstable, or whole different scenarios. People got this misconception of being crazy or have to go to Black Rock or whatever or to the mental if you are insane. People got that misconception. That's the only fix
and you
for
gotta get
being
injection in
crazy.
your body.
And you got yeah, that's the only way
That's
to
it, how
go.
they
But
say it. Mhm.
they got a lot of other conditions that people will be going through as it pertains to mental illness that a lot of people don't aren't aware of. And I think that if we are more instead of showing Giger and Boo talking about nonsense all the time on people TV, show some more mental health tips and that sort of thing. And that and go down that sort of line because we in ourselves we got the power to broadcast positive information that will make a change as opposed to showing the same thing over and over. We got enough innovators that we could find ways to promote mental health and whatnot. And it don't only gotta be on TV or radio, whether it could be on social media. It just find that people need to be more aware of the situation because people don't. I don't think people respect enough the things that people with mental illnesses go through.
That's my thing. I think that people do know. A lot more people know now than before, but people don't respect the issues and people like to put onto other persons. So two things that would have been said that one, people you need to be more confidential, and then some person else would have made a comment about that not about people being insensitive, but I think Jordy has said something about you never know what people are going through. You need to start laughing at people, right? You still need to start laughing at
Yeah.
people because we like to highlight the struggles of others. We love to highlight the struggles of others. No, I forgot that we got our own crap going on because mental health goes to something as simple as anxiety, depression over if you get bad, your results are not or whatever. A lot of things what may look to be really small that you just don't know. I think we need to learn more coping mechanisms. I think society needs to know how to treat others with care and compassion. We don't, those are not things that are being taught just like that
Mhm.
because we expect that people will have them, but people don't have care and compassion just like that. And being empathetic is some people have it naturally, the others who will need to
Some people
be
don't.
taught how to be empathetic. And
Yeah,
and that's my thing. So if people
that's
know
there's
full
a
well
lot. There's
that
a
the
lot of
majority
soft
we walking
skills.
about with mental illnesses, people know that.
They got
Yeah,
lost
people
Yeah,
some
but you
have
see,
already.
that's where education needs to come and override ignorance, though, because like we were saying before, when Keita was talking about how we would view mad people as going in the mental and getting injections in the boxy and that sort of thing. And when you're going there, when you come back out, you don't ever be the same. It's all about education so that people understand and are more aware of how um how prevalent mental illness is in society, whether it's in a very extreme way, with a case in terms of a person, or a very minute thing that could be dealt with in a certain way or series of ways
You
so
know,
that that person does not develop into more. You
you know
understand? So,
what just crossed my mind, right? Is that whole
uh-huh,
situation that blew up popular in Canada Hill. Because
Oh yeah, boy.
it's one thing to talk about mental illness and the correlation, or sometimes people are claiming mental illness and it
uh-huh,
actually not be so. It might just be a workaround to make yourself feel the victim in a situation. So
uh-huh.
the whole
But we gotta
situation where
understand that that's always work, though. The God, you know that with every step or every stride society is met in identifying something that identifies disenfranchised people, they're gonna got some people that gonna try to jut themselves in there and say, oh, I this too, and they're gonna find ways to justify the actions by stating, oh, I am like that. If you understand what I'm saying,
yeah,
when you
yeah,
go the one step forward, the two step backward, typical thing. But we coming on to the end. We got another couple minutes before we go. So Janelle, you want to close out with anything quickly,
Yes.
please?
Yes, I believe that there's a place for tradition. I must say that it does help guide certain principles that you live by or whatever, but we need to break free from the conformity of it all. All right. There's no need for us to have to be so regimented when it comes to mostly things that we would have discussed this evening. I
Mm-hmm.
think that society there should be more wiggle room for it, but not forgetting traditions because that is still important. Not the traditional tradition as in the white man way of doing things. So just saying, having
Uh-huh.
tradition is still good.
All right. And Kita, how about you?
yeah. I just want to echo what Janelle said, but at the same time, no, the time getting bony. So I just want to big up the sponsors. I want to
Yeah, the
also big
game.
up the people. I want to big up the people in the chat. This chat,
Yeah,
even though I
man.
can see
Once they
every
chat, I
chat.
love this chat.
Yeah, I want to put ones in
Once
chat
they
right
chat,
now,
please
man.
chat. Once they
Yeah,
chat,
ones in
please
chat for
chat.
myself, man. But I miss most of the chat because I couldn't scroll through the chat. I only see one comment at a time. I don't know what's going on my
Yeah.
Instagram. I probably wrote Instagram enough from posting memes, right? So I ain't sure what's going on, but I want bigger people in chat. I want bigger the sponsors, bigger Trading Cuts, big up Barry Soba, big up Sibel,
Oh,
big up Trevor and Tony's Tire Service, big up Al
Mm-hmm.
Rossi, big up Production,
Boom.
big up me first, big up
Bodo bang
everybody,
bing.
big up
Chad and
Yeah.
everybody.
So let me
wait,
so let
wait, you
me
see that
just let
comment,
me
Chad?
just finish. I see
Chad,
that
the one
there,
comment.
but I want somebody ending piece. I want
Hello?
people to break barriers down. Question without fear of ridicule or prejudice. Seek out information that gives credence to what you are told is the right way. If it doesn't resonate with your spirit, this is the age of information. I want people to act like it. There's no reason to be living in ignorance anymore. So get out there and seek the information. Who is lack of tradition in 2020?
In 2020.
Upgrade,
Upgrade,
please.
peoples. Up
Upgrade.
inside you, upgrade. Time to
Yeah,
upgrade.
you don't know. Big up all the time. Always enough love and respect to everybody for coming out, sharing the Thursday night with us.
Janelle,
We love one of
what's
bad.
the
We
topic?
appreciate
What's the
one of
topic that
boom.
what happened in the chat that I missed that I missed the comment of because I see everybody. I missed that. I missed
I
a lot of
screenshot
people.
it though.
You
Yeah,
screenshot it?
I gonna
You
scroll back
ignore it
and
though.
find it. We gonna scroll back
I
and find
what
it
happening
another time,
if
man.
Chad
But we gonna
explain
get
it to people that ain't
but
happening, huh?
we get